Oh, me again. Yeah, I'm new to this. I forgot the usual pleasantries. Please smash the subscribe button. I'd kind of like to be monetized, and I'm in AdSense. I had been. I put AdSense in. I'm working on a Patreon page. I'll put it in when I get it. Although hopefully you'll see this before I get it. For more information, there are websites, there are books. I'll put those down in the description. One of the books is The Future is Calling. It Wants a New God. And I talk extensively about abortion in that. That chapter is repeated in this big book, The Christian Left and Hey MSW, blog about abortion. So, it's like, this is all I've ever written about it on the internet. It's worth a look if you're pro-choice and Catholic. You should study up on, not just the women's rights question, but also the question of how to get from the women's rights answer from the constitutional law part, because it's important. Yes, women under Casey, the right of bodily integrity is recognized, but there's on the logical argument, the economic piece needs to be in the middle of it. To say, we don't like abortion, we don't want it banned, but we want to stop it. So the way we want to do that is to provide families with the incomes that they need. Now the thing is, the people who are right to life are also the people who say, "Oh, it's socialism, it's socialism." Well, here's the thing about socialism: it's required. It's the apostles, for heaven's sake. They held things in common. As importantly, when push comes to shove, you talk to a pro-life person about the economics, and they say, "I don't want to be, subsidizing the sex life of women." And it's like, well, if you want to protect children, you kind of have to. The whole reason we have a society is to have more society. If there's no kids, there's no future of the society. And if your issue is really women having sex, then yes, pro-lifers, you really are trying to regulate women's bodies. So we have to get the whole economics piece before jumping right to the women's bodies things, because it's not just reproductive freedom, it's actually all sex that they're trying to regulate. And we have to say that. We have to say it loud, and to say it loud and clear, we have to talk about the money. We have to build back better. Because we got to rebuild the pro-life movement too. Right now, it's hung up with the racists. I mean, there's not that many racists in the Republican Party. What there is pro-life voters who they loved their Trump because they thought they got their justices. We're going to see that they don't have their justices yet. So if they don't have their justices yet, they're going to go ape do. I'm trying to be monetized, so I'm not going to say the word that deserves to be said right now, but that's the case. Because it's, the people who give them the voting strength, to give the racists the voting strength, the insurrectionists the voting strength. It's the people who are pro-life voters, who are the primary voters, who are feared by people who watch ads from the Republican Party. If we change the culture of the GOP toward building back better as the only way to do life, they'll gladly leave the racists behind. Well, most of them. Some of them, are idiots. They want to regulate sex. They want, a white conservative society. They're not going to get it. But there's a lot of people who will go with truth. And the way to do that is to call them on the nonsense. To say, look, you're never banning abortion. it's, the people who are against it are really about sex. Join the good side. And, maybe the Republican Party can actually be saved. Because if the Republican Party gloms on to feeding children, in fact, you can even get rid of the tax code the way it is and feed children. This is going to be a major topic of conversation on this channel. And I might as well start it now because this is probably a better video than the last one, but they're both going to get posted. Currently, under the American Rescue Plan, the IRS is distributing the money, which, Joe Manchin has a point. It looks like socialism. Instead, it should come through employers. They should pay a subtraction VAT, which is what they do in Japan, and it should collect no money. What it should do, though, is be the way we get deductions to families. In other words, employers pay a tax on the prices minus their material costs, consulting costs, all that, their wages and their profit. But the offset against that in their filing is healthcare benefits paid. That's an offsetting credit, and money paid to families. So instead of getting the family tax credit through the IRS in advance, people should get it with their paychecks. Then the bureaucracy will be less and Joe Manchin will be happy. And you can stop people from having to file taxes, except for the very rich. The very rich will have to, and there's other tax reform ideas like an asset value added tax that will make sure that the rich don't have to, they may have to pay extremely high income salary taxes, but if you put most of it on the assets, then you can, and you should probably have a normal value added tax so that if rich people borrow money from their fortunes, that if they buy anything with it, they have to pay a VAT on what they buy. So, that yacht will have a VAT on it. So we tax them that way. If somebody's got rich parents and they leave them the money, then, you don't have to get the money. You just charge a 20% VAT, or something between 13 and 20. It depends upon how you fund Social Security. But you could do tax reform that has everybody but the 500,000 and above people pay taxes, or 400,000 and above people pay income taxes and file for income taxes. That should be a Republican goal. And the Republican Party should go for both funding families and, two, not having people file taxes. It was good for Mike Huckabee. It'd be a good argument. And it'll get them away from Trump. So, if the Republican Party wants to survive, it needs to do what I just said in both videos. If not, then we'll have one party, and it's the Sanders wing and the Clinton neoliberal wing, and that can't stand either. So, and we couldn't stand it. So, the GOP needs to go away from the Trump racists, and the way to do that is for the pro-lifers to get real about Roe. It's not going anywhere, and get real about building back better and funding families, and even getting rid of tax filing. So yeah. I'm more animated when I'm not reading from a script, which, I should have been doing anyway, but I'm leaving them both in there. Again, about abortion, Future's Calling, and there's other books that go with this. It's a series. It's on Amazon. Support this channel by buying the books. There will be a Patreon page eventually, and if it's already there, it'll be where it's supposed to be. And what Patreon people will get, and it'll be a higher donation, it won't be $1, it won't be $5, it'll be like 10 or 20, with $100 options too. The $10 option will be blog conversations, which will be half an hour, and they will be published here. But I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to announce, they're going to be Zoom. Okay, Zoom talk radio, essentially. And people who are supporters of this channel will be given the code and the password for the conversation. We'll have it on Zoom. We'll tape it. And your face can be on the internet having a Zoom conversation with me if you're a Patreon. And the bombers won't be there because they won't have the code, because the code will change every single time. So by the time the bombers are in, sorry guys, we're done with the conversation. So that's going to be the Patreon merch, and of course there'll be the high option, and it'll be the ones that you participating in the one that won't be published. It'll be the longer conversations on Zoom, and in that you can cuss because we're not going to put it on here. So there'll be no polite. It will be less polite conversation and freer flowing, I hope, for the higher dollar Patreons. So, but I've got to get on Patreon first. This is fun if you're not using the script. I'm going to have to keep doing it like this. But the script is a way to make sure everything's in there. So, anyway, that's number 2. I hope it was better than number 1. I will see you on the next video, which will probably be about tax reform. There'll have to be charts with that. And the national debt. This is another one that will be talked about soon, and I have charts for that.